Please stand by.
I've been receiving strange reports of odd
Not as mounted a full counterattack.
Establishing battlefield control. Stand by. Primary objective achieved. Welcome back, Commander.
Good light. Tunnels targeted. Coming left for the shot. Fox. Okay, flash 131. What force it? Understand your hit? Fox. Flash 1. Right. Take right. Merge. There's another one! Bingo.
Roger.
Good evening, folks. Welcome along to another TACT match. Today we have got Outer Heaven versus the Motor City Pit Vipers in the final match of Group D. Along with me this evening, I am very happy to say, is 104th Bullet. Good evening, Mr. Bullet.
Is this thing on?
Oh, maybe, kind of. I don't know. Did you pay your phone bill?
Let's have some fun.
Excellent. So the teams are in the server. We have just got the Motor City Pit Vipers underway taxiing to the runway. So let me run you folks through what we got going on and a little bit about these squadrons once we get in the air. Nothing like a last minute panic in these things, you know. Alright, so on the right hand side of the screen we got the Motor City Pit Vipers, who are currently at Kobuleti Airfield. And if we come out of this for just one moment... This match this evening is Kobuleti versus Vaziani. So Outer Heaven are over in Vaziani in the east side of the Caucasus. The airfields are about 145 nautical miles apart. Bullseye in the middle of that. And as is the format with TACT, in the middle, around Bullseye, you've got this classic bubble. The bubble itself is 45 nautical mile radius, and the wind conditions are that one side will control the bubble for 5 minutes, meaning there's no enemy aircraft inside it, or that they wipe out the opposing team's aircraft. After either of those conditions is met, the winning team then must recover to the opposing team's airfield. So for example, in the case of Motor City Pit Vipers here at Kobuleti, they must then return and land to Vaziani, so at Outer Heavens Airfield and vice versa. So let's get these cameras back in position. Do we have any word yet, Mr. Bullet, from Outer Heaven about if they're good to taxi?
They are ready now. And my volume, you can bump it up just one click, probably be good, I think.
Roger that, thank you, sir. We'll stand by.
I see Outer Haven, Outer Heaven, Haven, I'm not sure. But they've got the classic, oh wait, no, they've gone with 4 F-16s now. A F-18 and a Jeff. And then Motor City, they're going with a Tomcat.
Roger that. So how are the loadouts looking there?
Well, my go-to to see how interesting things are going to get is always go to the F-18 because it has a good variety of loadouts it can do. It looks like, let's see, Motor City's going with 3 bags on their F-18. And then the F-16s are doing the classic, well, actually, let me check. I don't think anybody has any Sidewinders, but there can always be a first.
Yeah, we're just watching the Outer Heaven Vipers taxiing past here. Everything at the moment looks like... Oh, we've got a first. We've got a TACT first. There is a Viper with a Sidewinder.
Ah.
And 2 bags. I think it is the 3rd Viper out there.
Yeah, they may rearm on the runway because do a rearm, refuel on the runway right before takeoff. That'll give you an extra 100 pounds of gas, which at the end of these events sometimes can, you know, be a winning or losing situation. And both F-18s have 3 fuel tanks, so maximum gas.
Excellent, thank you. So it looks like it's maximum gas rather than maximum boom.
Yep.
This is the last...
Motion versus boomsticks. It's always one or the other.
It's always a trade-off, isn't it?
Yep,
so we're looking at the last aircraft of Outer Heaven taking runway 31 at Vaziani. So as you pointed out, there is a Jeff on board there. So
my
standard
super early prediction is that Sidewinder's going to win the match.
Roger that. So we're going to give a little overview on these squadrons in a moment. Once they get in the air, and we're going to have a little bit of downtime until they get to the bubble. So for the minute, we're just going to let this roll and get them in the air as soon as possible. One thing of note, the eagle-eyed amongst you will see that there are only 5 aircraft on the right-hand side, if we can just get this lined up properly. The Motor City Pit Vipers, unfortunately, had their last person unavailable just before the match, and they were already riding with 2 mercenaries, so they are at the limit for mercenaries, so this will be a 6v5, unfortunately. But they're going to roll with it.
You can only have 2 mercenaries. I forgot that one.
Yeah. So we've got 3 Vipers on the right-hand side, 1 Hornet, 1 Tomcat. That's from the Motor City Pit Vipers. And then on the left at Vaziani, as Bullet was saying, 4 Vipers, a Jeff and a Hornet. And of course, Bullet's early prediction is that the Sidewinder will decide the match. I'm actually really interested to see what that Sidewinder is going to do. We haven't had a Viper take one yet.
Yeah, it can come down to switchology, trying to get from your AMRAM to your Sidewinder and back if you're in helmet mode with the F-16. Sometimes that can be a challenge.
Yep. Roger, so both teams are calling ready, I believe, so I'm going to give them a countdown.
And Samurai in the chat was asking if I'm going to supply some technical knowledge. Actually, I'm going to supply totally useless trivia for this whole event.
We knew there's a reason we liked Bullet. And for whatever reason, when I'm typing in chat, it is moving my free cam, so I think ED have introduced another bug, so brilliant.
You want me to tell them ready? Or you got it? All right.
Yeah, once we just get a MCPV confirming again, they're still good, then let's, if you would mind, save me the bother of typing. Give them a countdown to go. Yep, there it is. Do the honors, please, sir.
There you go.
Okay, we're live. So it looks like all aircraft from the Motor City Pit Vipers are rolling together at Cobaledi. That's going to catch the final aircraft here, the Tomcat. And similarly, all the aircraft at Vaziani from Outer Heaven are rolling. No staggered takeoffs here.
Yeah, formation flying is pretty, but in competition, when there is a little desync action, it can be dangerous getting too close.
Oh, indeed, but I meant more about the spacing of elements. We've seen quite a lot of different varieties of opening tactics so far, where, you know, aircraft might be on the ground for a good 10 minutes before taking off.
Yeah, as long as you get into that bubble within 10 minutes of the other guy, or within 5 minutes. Sometimes it can actually be a very good advantage to actually be late into the fight because you were on the ground longer, and so you still have more fuel relative to the other guys.
Yep, absolutely. We've actually seen that in one of the earlier matches, I think, where somebody had to return to base and came back in late in the fight with all the sticks and all the gas. So, both sides are airborne and tracking towards the infamous bubble. You know, we'll build up the excitement as much as we can here. And let's talk a little bit about the squadron. So, on the left-hand side of our split screen, we are looking at Toretto of Outer Heaven. So the squadron themselves have been around since 2018 and are mostly just a group of friends who met through DCS and have been flying together ever since. They competed in SATAL 2020, pulling off a round 1 upset against Grim Reapers and making it to round 2 before being eliminated by the soon-to-be champions in Griffin Squadron. So we have a quick look at who we've got actually flying with us on Outer Heaven. So up at front is K-Gunner from the US. We've got Toretto inside there, although I don't have a note there for where Toretto is from. Hussar is Canadian, coming up there onto CTF Raven. Raven, again, I don't think I have a note saying is from the US. We've got Mazer Jax, is from Parts Unknown. And I think that is the 5 in the front, and the Hornet, a big distance back actually. Well, it's a big distance while I'm zoomed in, 3 miles. Arrow is also from the US. So then on the other side, right hand side of the screen, we've got the Motor City Pit Vipers. We covered these folks a few weeks back against the number 15 Battle Axes. So some of this will be familiar to folks who caught that match. But the Motor City Pit Vipers were founded by 2 US Air Force veterans. The Motor City Pit Vipers are a casual group that meet weekly for PvE missions. Thursdays, 2000 Eastern Time. With several servers based in Atlanta, Georgia, and hosted by Fox 3 Managed Solutions. They've all got something up and running. Happy to be a part of TACT. This is their first foray into tournament PvP. So again, good luck to them. It's great to see new groups getting involved in DCS. So the lineup for today is Finch, who is back home from a week-long drinking binge with high school friends, who says his flying skills actually make him better.
You know,
because they can't get worse.
I fly, so.
Absolutely. It's the usual thing, eh? Also with Finch is Blah, a Harrier expert and a Hornet novice, so we'll see how that pans out. And then Tugboat is a Tomcat expert. 2 mercenaries alongside the MCPV folks this afternoon is Delta 4 and Hell Pilot. So Mr. Bullet, I saw a notification there that the bubble has been entered. How are we looking?
Yep, blue is entered the bubble, red is entering now. So I really like this map because you have a variety of terrain. Up in the northern area, you kind of have the big valley, and then center and south, you have some good mountain ranges. So there's a lot of different things they have to work with.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we've seen it predominantly with this this mission, the fight floating south of Bullseye, in those kind of low hills and valleys with the lakes. It makes for an interesting fight. I think I remarked in one of the opening matches of this, it reminds me of the 104th Mission Able Archer of times gone past. It's always good fun to
Yes.
fly around those areas.
Yeah, there's kind of set areas where you have really good competition between airfields, and this is one of them. Yeah, using those mountains, you've got 3 basic techniques to defeat a missile coming at you. One is you can just run away. You can just defeat it with speed. 2 is to notch, where you try to go 90 degrees to the radar seeker of the missile so it gets confused and can't see you anymore. And the other one is to duck behind a mountain, make the missile hit a squirrel down low.
Oh, the squirrels will be taking a lot of damage today, I suspect. So it's 60 miles between Finch and the outer edge of Outer Heaven. Finch, I'm noting, is up at 43,000 feet and 609 k's ground speed.
He's doing Viper things.
Viper things, yeah. We're watching Finch picture-in-picture at the moment. The rest of the elements, so we've got Delta 4 and Hellpilot, the 2 mercenaries, 22,000, 26,000, just keeping a 5-mile trail. Tugboat in the Tomcat at the back at 37,000 feet, and Blah at 30,000 feet, bringing up the rear. On the Outer Heaven side, Toretto and K-Gunner in a relatively close formation, 29,000 feet, 500 knots across the ground. In the south, Raven is at 34,000 feet, and Hussar, 34,000, so again, just a little bit of a trail. And then we've got a cut being taken to the north by Mazer Jax and Errol, 28,000 feet. So lots of altitudes going on here.
In the south, Finch, he has officially gone Kerbal. He's up above 44,000 now. So he's the first stage in that weapon system. He's going to be basically throwing that AMRAAM out. It'll have an extra, 400 or 500 knots? Easily.
Roger that, yeah. So we're getting into dangerous territory. I'm not sure who he's sorting on here. He's 41 miles to Raven, 37 miles to Toretto, but is very much isolated. Is, a good 15 miles from his nearest friendly?
Yeah, but he's fast, and he can turn away and really open up. Looks like they have the first AMRAAM out from the middle.
Yeah, and that's not from the stratosphere either. That's a defensive shot. Seeing that Finch is high, that's a good move from Toretto's part. Although Finch seems to be drawing that fox because Finch has turned cold and is descending down through 36,000 feet.
The classic tactic of going at him and then turning away, making him use a missile on him.
Yes. So we've got
and
Phoenixes.
2 Phoenixes out.
Phoenixes are coming out, so let's get those into picture. We're tracking the first one here. Looks to be heading towards Toretto, who's already in a beam. That is probably going to be pretty safe then. 3rd, 4th Phoenix out. Tugboat is just letting loose all the Phoenixes here.
Yeah, you either want to launch kind of early so the guys are still coming into the fight, not totally expecting the Phoenix, or wait as long as you can into the fight. And, here comes the first one coming in. Looks like this may be very effective.
I think this is dangerous. K-Gunner has been flying straight into it. Yeah, Phoenix sees him. We might be on for the first kill here. Holy shit! It just pulled away at the last second.
Down in the south, we got the Phoenix inbound on Raven.
Roger that. Raven is defending.
Missiles tracking. Still tracking.
And a splash! First kill of the match. So Raven from Outer Heaven eats an early AMRAAM Tugboat with the kill. I see ST-10s being traded in the north. There's another Phoenix out from Tugboat. Probably heading towards Hussar. That's about 30 miles or so.
So that was a very effective Tomcat attack. The early shot. Couple got notched, but one...
I think we've lost someone in the north, Bullet. I see that we've the Jeff on his own. There was somebody else up there, a Hornet, I thought.
Yeah, I missed that totally.
Outer Heaven, CTF Raven has died. That is probably a CFIT G-Lock down into terrain, is my guess. No, Raven was the Viper that died. Aero disconnected, that's what it was. Okay, so we've had a disconnect in the north, which means that what was a 5v6 became a 5v5, is now a 5-on-4, to the advantage of MCPV, but there's an AMRAAM on the way to this Hornet. Looks like it's just past him.
third SD-10 out, and the Jeff up to the north. Everybody is firing very early in this event.
They are, aren't they?
Yeah, there's no conservation of ammo here. It's just hit the buttons as fast as you can, and sometimes that works pretty good.
Fire everything!
Yeah.
So 5 ships alive from the Motor City Pit Vipers, 4 ships alive for Outer Heaven, and as we're just getting to, unfortunately that disconnect is as good as a death you cannot rejoin, so Aero is out of the fight.
And the numbers that you have, if you're up 1, it doesn't seem like a lot, but it really can change the game, where you start running out of places to, you want to go to your wingman if you're being attacked, so they can kind of protect you. And if there's no one there, you can just get run down.
Dangerous Fox from Delta 4, 10 miles on Toretto. Toretto's in a beam. Looks like that's heading for the squirrels.
That was the last SD-10. The Jeff is down to Sidewinders.
Wow, that was a very quick scoosh.
Yeah, well, they only carry 4, so you got to. Everyone has to count.
Indeed. I have a feeling the Tomcat is in the same situation. Could you double check that for me, please?
Yeah, stand by.
I'm seeing a lot of missiles being traded.
You got 1 Phoenix left on that Tomcat.
Roger, 1 Phoenix left. We've got 4 AMRAAMs on Delta 4. Hell Pilot has 5, so lots of sticks left from the northern element. The Jeff, as you correctly say, is Skosh. Toretto and the Viper looks to be down to 3. K-Gunner still has 4 AMRAAMs on board and 3 bags. I think at this stage surely is dry on at least one of those tanks. Interestingly, it doesn't look like Finch has actually fired anything yet. I think we're going to get a close combat in the north. Delta 4 and Mazur Jack, 6 miles, AMRAAM out. It's just missed.
Jeff is on the tail of an F-16, and he's pushing them.
We're in a split screen padlocked here.
So,
if they can see each other.
We're getting into a merge.
Yeah, Jeff is high.
He lost sight. Oh, he's correcting.
Yeah, Viper's still turning.
Oh, this Viper doesn't have the Sidewinder. Damn.
So, you would imagine... well, I was going to say you would imagine the advantages with the Jeff then, with the heaters, but as we've seen, the M120Xs are potent. Fox from the Viper.
Oh, nope, that didn't track.
And a reversal from the Jeff. Viper's turned out. Bags away. Flares from the Jeff.
F-14 just launched a Phoenix and your bullseye.
Roger that.
And it looks like the Jeff and the F-16 are starting to separate a little bit, so that merge has ended.
Roger, let's keep an eye on this Phoenix then, because I think we may have... Oh, just got some squirrels.
That was the last Phoenix.
Roger, there was a long AMRAAM sent back 20 miles towards the Tomcat, but that's going to be no factor.
Alright, the Jeff is turning hot again, and AMRAAM launch, real deadly launch here up to the north.
Finch seems to be driving himself out of the fight, 30 miles to the south.
Is about to take an AMRAAM. And
just caught the end of that. That's
another AMRAAM out in the north. This is a real fast grinding match here.
This one's gonna get him! And splash!
Wow, we're down to 2v2.
No, we're down to 4v2. Because we've got 2 MCPV still to the southwest of Bulls.
Roger. Okay, 4v2.
Yeah, M120 out from Delta 4 on Toretto.
when you're down significantly, the best tactic is to be super aggressive. If you try to stay defensive, the guys with superior numbers are going to run you down. So right now, it's basically go for it. Fangs out, kill everybody you can.
Agreed, agreed. Hussar here has 8 mauls on Tugboat and the Tomcat. Has AMRAAMs on board. Really needs to be aggressive, exactly as you say. Fox is out. And looks like it's tracking. Tomcat's gonna die.
Going for a pretty good notch.
Oh, that was a big kill. Right, we're down to 3v2. AMRAAM's being exchanged. Toretto with the kill. Down to 2v2. If Toretto can survive. No!
Oh, wow.
I think that's a 2v1.
That's it. No, I think someone just hit the ground. We had 2, and now we have none.
Hussar died. Hussar and the Viper for Outer Heaven crashed. Oh my god, what a chaotic round.
Maybe he was trying to defend a missile and hit the ground?
Yeah, I think that's probably what it was. That we had exactly as you called there. Outer Heaven needing to be aggressive and got some important kills, but were just riding the edge of the knife there, right on the limit, and put themselves sadly into the ground in that case.
That was exciting, man. That went quick.
that was yes. So Delta 4 is at 11,000 feet. Finch is at 31,000 feet. Still with all missiles on board.
Does he? Wow, he does.
Yeah, he was the one we thought was going to fox long right at the outset, and ended up going southwest of Bulls for about 30 miles, just getting out of the fight, which was interesting. But is here in a position which presumably at 34,000 feet is not going to have any fuel issues. 93% RPM. They need to recover, of course, to Vaziani, and that is just under 70 miles to go. So I would not expect
this fight happened so quick. They didn't have time to get all the fuel out of the back end there with the afterburner.
Yeah, exactly. So we're just having a look here at Finch on the right-hand side of the screen, and Delta 4 on the left. Delta 4 is 14,000 feet, but as we say, Finch is high enough, fast enough that there shouldn't be an issue recovering.
All right, now the most important thing, the match, and the whole chat thread should vote on this. Are they going to shoot down the enemy AWACS on recovery, or are they going to let it live? That kind of turns into a tradition now. If you win, you go to the enemy base and land. You pass by the enemy AWACS.
Oh, I think we have the answer.
All your weapons. Sorry, say again?
I think we have the answer. Finch has foxed.
Oh, okay, there we go. That was 50 miles flanking. That missile will go 50 miles. What was his altitude? 35, 36,000? Yeah, that can make it. Yep.
AWACS is just under 30,000 feet, tracking along to the south. AMRAAM has lofted to passing 60,000 feet at the moment. In fact, we should be able to see the AWACS soon. We can see the lake north of Tbilisi there, so it's not all that far away at the moment.
Some of the basics with the modern air combat here with missiles is that the atmosphere is not your friend. You want to get rid of as much air as possible, slowing down your weapons. So the higher you are, the less air molecules are in the way, and the farther your missile is going to travel.
So the AMRAAM is thinking about nosing over, but I have a feeling that it's just gone stupid. It's passing 87,000 feet. Although, to be honest, it's still a good 24 miles out, so this may just be the loft. It is tracking.
Yeah, it is still maneuvering some, so...
Yeah, we can see the AWACS now from the missile. Just to the left of the missile tip, we can see the contrails in the right-hand side of the screen.
Maximum conservation of energy shot for the AMRAAM here.
Now, the real question is, will the AWACS notch it?
Possible. The other thing is that they do have it modeled that the AMRAAM has a battery, so it actually has a limit to how long it can function. And And this type of shot, this thing is flying for so long, you could actually run out of battery power.
Is that actually modelled in DCS these days? I know there was some debate on that recently.
Several months ago. You can look in the coding and actually see it.
Excellent. And I know there was a debate on exactly how long that battery was.
Yeah, I haven't looked lately and haven't tested lately on what the biggest battery stuff is.
So the AWACS is tracking 178 degrees, so practically south. The AMRAAM is pulling lead at 160 degrees. So that is a massive lead here it's pulling.
It's fine.
It's actually going past
guiding.
the AWACS now. The AWACS, it's a beam, the AWACS.
Oh, actually, it isn't guiding anymore. I think it timed out. I think we found the battery limit right there.
Yeah, it was pulling right, and now it's just pulling right, and it's gone. The AWACS will survive until these next 3 AMRAAMs come close. Meanwhile, while all of that's going on, Finch is now 34 nautical miles back to Vaziani. Delta 4 is 34 also. Altitude on Delta 4 is 27,000 feet. Finch is 25,000. Again, shouldn't be any issue, I expect.
Now, no one real world has ever done this, but all those runways are pointing in the same direction, so there's absolutely no chance that they'll land at the wrong airport.
It would be a bit of a disaster, wouldn't it?
Yeah. I guess there's nothing in the rulebook where they can't take off again and land the correct one if they land at the wrong airport, I think. I don't know if we put that into the rules for TACT at all.
That's a good question, because it's meant to be one sortie. So, technically you could say when you land, that's the end of your sortie. I don't think we'll ever see it, but you never know. Someone could just lose concentration at the wrong moment.
Watch, it comes down to the final, and one guy is left with just a minimum amount of gas and lands at the wrong airport. Oh.
This reminds me of the match we were covering a few weeks back between the 343rd and I think DCS half. And we had our interestingly named friend Unamuske landing at Vaziani and went off the end of the runway into a fence. But thankfully there were 5 other teammates to follow. And it does not look like any of these AMRAAMs are going to be a danger to the AWACS, so not today. Not today, AWACS. So a little bit of chat. Breakshot, I think, is saying 60 seconds on the battery. Although that's... what do the Russian missiles have for battery time? That's what that's answering. Okay, my bad. I will catch up on chat eventually.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. Like the ET, the infrared-guided Russian long-range missile. That is a deadly weapon. I wonder if that has a timer, because if you launch those from altitude, they can fly a long way.
Good question, yeah. I mean, that I think is...
It'll guide itself, but I wonder if it does have a battery limit also. That'd be interesting to find out.
Yeah, Breakshot, if you got info on that, please please let us know. I think 60 seconds for ER is what Breakshot is telling us.
Okay.
So we are on board with Finch on the right-hand side of the screen. Camera is on Vaziani, and Finch is looking good for Vaziani here. I'm assuming Finch will be the first one in. Well, it looks like Delta 4 may be lining up.
Yeah, everybody talks about the F-16 burning a lot of gas, but this thing is actually 30% more efficient than an F-18. To go 100 miles back to base or something, you burn about 30% less fuel with an F-16 as opposed to an F-18 doing the optimum profile. So once this thing is light and you get rid of some drag, it is a very efficient machine, especially up high.
It's surprising that to me because I've underestimated, oh my god, how fuel efficient it can be recently, but also, you know, fallen short of it on the other side too. Just to call out, Pistol is asking me, am I taking ignoring chat pointers from Bullet? Possibly.
I am a professional ignorer. Ignorer. Yeah, I ignore things.
Alright, Finch is overhead of Vaziani. In fact, our runway cam can track Finch there.
Yeah, the F-16 can burn a lot of gas. Down low, full afterburner, the pipe to put fuel into that engine is just massive. But on the other side, it's a very slick machine, and when you go efficient and right at the correct speeds, you can save a lot of gas.
Roundabout throwing some shade here. I always felt Titan's interactions with his chat was one of the strengths of his streams. If that changes, ...
Well, I can fix that. Don't worry.
I will catch up on it. We were watching the AWACS, people.
Important things.
Absolutely. So gear is down from Finch. He has correctly identified Vaziani, so we can check that one off, Bullet.
Roger. But one of the other nice things when the other team is going RTB is it gives everybody a lot of time to kind of process and talk about and debrief the event that just happened and kind of reset yourself for the next one. So the guys who lost this round have time to kind of regroup and put a new plan together, clear their heads, and get ready for the next round.
How important is that, Bullet, from the point of view of people taking part? Obviously, I'm not flying in TACT myself, but you have been.
When you're on your own fighting against an AI, it's just you and your weapon system and trying to work your airplane. But in competition here, you're against other pilots, and you're working with a team. You don't want to let your team down. You're fighting against other people who can be unpredictable, and it's a huge amount of stress, and you've got to learn how to manage that and compartmentalize and just know what is the next most important thing to do and just concentrate on that and not worry about all the other stuff. There's like 7 or 8 things you're always kind of balancing what you're working with. And over time, doing competitions, you'll learn how to manage that and manage everything that's going on around you, and makes you a lot better fighter. And it just takes time, just like anything. It's a skill to build up and fight in competition.
And we're just watching Finch touchdown. Beautiful. Caught it on both cameras. Nice. Lone Dart.
Aviation porn. That's always important.
That's what we're here for, really, Bullet, isn't it?
Yeah.
Lone Dart.
Lifties and thrusties and draggies on these things. Just watching all that happen.
Yeah, the boomsticks.
Oh yeah.
Lone Dart is half throwing shade, half backing me up here, saying sometimes you have to wait for 10 minutes or so for Titan to catch up, but he does eventually. It's a lot easier when you're just doing a kind of a more casual sortie than trying to follow all the shenanigans ongoing, but I will catch through, folks.
Oh yeah, I saw that chat that Lone Dart put up on there, but of course I'm ignoring it. Oh, let's see.
That was the wrong button.
The weakest part of landing gear are the gear doors. So your gear speed limits are usually related to the gear doors because those things have a lot of air surface area and they can get a lot of load, and you try to make them as light as possible. But the gear itself, super strong. There's no chance of any air damage on your gear, but gear doors are usually the limit.
Interesting to know.
Not that I've tested, but above 180 knots in the F-18, if you put the gear down, you'll rip your gear doors off.
Interesting.
F-16 isn't modeled yet, so you can put that gear down at any speed you want, basically.
Brickshot is commenting nice camera work. Thank you, Brickshot. Fox, good afternoon, good evening. Let's actually try and come through some of this chat. Brickshot is saying both the 16 and the 18 are very good on fuel. I'm waiting to see if Delta 4 is going to land here. At some point in the next couple of minutes, the server will go down and be restarted for the next round. Those teams will swap sides then. But just to confirm, that touchdown from Finch secures the round for the Motor City Pit Vipers. So our scoreboard now is 1-0 to MCPV.
Very nice.
Brickshot is saying that any shot beyond 60 kilometers with the Russian EORs is pointless because of that 60-second battery. And we're just going down.
For the AMRAAM, that's about 55, 54 nautical head-on, 0.9 Mach. up above 35,000 or so is kind of a benchmark for AMRAAMs.
Roger that. Breakshot, I'm just going back through the chat here in reverse chronological order, but Breakshot commenting one hell of a loft on the AMRAAM. Yeah, what was it 80-something thousand feet bullet?
Yeah, it got right up there.
Yeah, it was an interesting shot, all right. But for once, the AWACS makes it out. So again, we're just waiting for the server to come back up. Go ahead, Bullet.
That was total skill on the AWACS pilot's part there.
Absolutely, he just put it at the notch. Fine. Good evening, Aerospace Professional. Good evening, Coxie. Good evening, Kraut. Nice to see you along. Madman Onion Ring. Ed Straker. So, good evening. And Kebab is here. Oh, Jesus. He's not flying, he's here to watch and drink beer. That sounds like Kebab.
Slitter's Fox is saying we need a landing contest, the fastest landing speed for the Viper. This sounds like a good competition.
I think that's something we could do.
Tire speed is actually a limit at the airlines. When you're hot and high, like in Vegas in the summertime, the air is so thin, to get off the runway, you need a certain amount of air molecules hitting the wing. And the higher you are and the hotter it is, the less air you have to work with. So the faster you have to move through it to generate enough lift to get airborne. And you actually go so fast on takeoff that your tires will disintegrate. So they limit the amount of weight that you are at different altitudes to limit that speed so you don't overstress your tires.
Well, you learned something new.
Yeah, you can give somebody a 20,000-foot runway, but it doesn't matter how long the runway is. It's a speed limit for your tires that's going to give you a problem.
Is that modeled in DCS?
On the F-15, it sure is. I have blown so many tires on takeoff with that thing.
Oh, me too. Me too. I think it's variable between aircraft, to be honest.
Oh yeah. Like the F-16, I just cringe at some of the rotation speeds in the F-16 are so high, but it's not modeled yet, so it's fine.
Good evening as well to Jumper. Nice to see you along. Breeze is here as well, and Controller 007. So all the names coming out of the woodwork.
Now it's a party.
Yeah, now it's a party. Open the beer. Gang's all here.
You know, beer is much more than just a breakfast drink, so I'm really tempted to get one right now.
Do it. We got time.
Yeah, I got
server
training
has
after this,
though, just come back up, so I'm just positioning cameras here for the next round. That's the word I'm looking for.
So predictions. What are you thinking, Titan?
Funny, I was just about to ask you there. That last round was chaotic but incredible. I think it all just happened so quickly. Both sides were gung ho. I don't think we could say either side were conservative with their missiles, or were worried about the endurance of the long game. And they went for it.
Yeah, it was just full, fangs out, full speed ahead, fire everything. And that can be effective, or if you be very conservative against a team that is doing that, you can make them basically launch everything fairly early on if you're very conservative on it, and then you can just roll over them. So, but both teams were very aggressive on each other, so it's interesting. You never know what you're going to get. The rules are all very set and organized. Everybody's in the same bubble and everything, but each event is different.
Agreed. Yeah. It's nice to see, I think, in this case where we have two teams just going for it. Especially in the case of Outer Heaven, who, as I said earlier, didn't get to fight their match against the number 15 Battle Axes with due to numbers.
This is their first TACT match of the series, isn't it?
It is, yeah. So right-hand side of our split screen, we're back live. We got Vaziani and the Motor City Pit Vipers. So I think we're just missing one of the aircraft there at the moment. So if you were Outer Heaven now, Bullet, is there anything you would change from that last fight?
I would maybe go a little more on the conservative side, because you see the other team is pretty aggressive. I don't know how much they're going to change up their tactics, but you kind of can absorb their initial launches and just kind of stay defensive and make them just try to wear them down a little bit. I think that would be the best option right here.
Agreed.
Especially they have 6, and the other guys still have 5, correct?
Yes. At the moment, in fact, I think they're down to 4 at the minute. We're waiting for the 5th to connect.
Yeah, if you have superior numbers early on, just stay conservative and just wait for a really opportune time to kill somebody. And then if you're up 2, say you're 6 to 4, then you just really go aggressive and just kind of roll over them if you can.
So again, going back to the missile use, we saw the Jeff from Outer Heaven letting loose all those ST-10s very early on, and similarly the Tomcat from the Motor City Pit Vipers got rid of, all bar one Phoenix within the first, I don't know, 30-second period. It seemed like there were a lot out.
You can have an early surprise shot. I think 86 miles is the biggest or largest distance that in competition that we've gotten to kill.
Yeah, that's right.
And, so either go real early, so they're not expecting those Phoenixes coming down from orbit, almost literally, or wait until you're really close and later in the event, and they don't have time to react to that high-speed Phoenix missile coming at them. Same with the SD-10. That thing is it's a mini Phoenix, and it's really good in close or somebody who's just turning cold, and it can kind of run people down low because it has a big motor on it.
Alright, so it looks like the 5th person for our MCPV has connected. Left side of our screen we get a look at the Outer Heaven livery there. It's black with a checkerboard at the rear.
Ooh, more aviation porn, I like it.
It looks to me like that's an Irish Air Corps roundel at the back, but I'm not aware of any connection with the squadron, so it might just be by chance or something else.
Yeah, let me look at the weapons again, see if they had any changes. Well, looks like maximum bags for the F-18s again. They want as much motion lotion as possible.
Roundabout is saying Irish Air Corps have Vipers, serious question? No. No, the Irish Air Corps do not have any jet aircraft. The closest we have are the Pilatus, I think, PC-9 turbo trainers? Or turboprops. I think they can technically take some guns and rockets, but they're not used in any sort of air policing role.
Yeah, PC-9's a good machine, though. That's nice.
Conqueror is asking, it might be Indian also. I thought the Indian Air Force had more traditional roundels in the style of, the RAF or, those kind of concentric circles. I know at one point the Irish Air Corps had roundels similar to that, which included white, and at one point they didn't have the white and just had green and orange. But I think that triplicate one, if anyone can actually check, I'd be curious. As I say, I'm not aware of, or it has been said to me in the notes of any connection, but... It's funny actually, with the all the custom liveries that we're getting at the moment. Okay, both sides are ready to taxi, so let's stop playing with cameras and let them go. Avi1 Kenovi is saying that's definitely not Indian. That's what I thought. Yeah, in the style of all the custom community liveries and whatnot, I had considered making one with the Irish Air Corps roundels for the crack. So it's interesting to see that. Yeah, Avi1 is backing me up there, saying the Indian Air Force has the more traditional concentric circle roundels, like the RAF.
Okay.
Source, I'm Indian, says Avi. Defo Irish Air Corps, says Spectre. Good evening, Spectre. That's what I thought. But I'm confused as to why it's there. I didn't realise there was any connection. But nice to see it. I don't think I've seen one in DCS previously. Wiki knows all, says Spectre.
So we had one disconnect and we had one CFIT. Is that correct? In the last round?
Yes. Were you able to keep any sort of kill logs there, Mr. Bullet?
Oh god, no, that happened too fast. I didn't have a chance to see who shot at who.
That is completely understandable, to be honest.
We'll have to save that for the TACT.
Absolutely.
Which is another real good tool for anybody watching DCS. If you don't have it or haven't messed with that software, Tacview records all these things that are happening on the whole map, and then you can replay it later with an incredible amount of detail, and it shows all the parameters of everything being recorded. So it's a great debrief tool.
Alright, MCPV, you're calling they are ready for takeoff. The Outer Heaven folks are just taking the runway here, so I think we'll be rolling any second. Fenian, good afternoon / evening. Says that black Viper livery is quite nice all around. Yeah, I quite like it. It's nice too to see the aircraft using the taxi lights, even though it's daytime. I think it just adds to the drama. Makes things look even better.
Standard operating procedure. Whenever you're going to be moving an aircraft, you turn on your taxi light. Everybody around you knows you're going to be moving forward.
Oh, I'm totally on board with that, but this is DCS. People just YOLO it.
There's reality, and then there's DCS. So are we ready to say go?
Yeah, if you give them a 5 countdown, please. I'm not.
There's 5 seconds in there somewhere.
We are underway. Right hand side of the screen. The Motor City Pit Vipers, again 5 elements because they are 1 less. And on the left hand side, Outer Heaven, again, just a nice easy takeoff as we watch the Tomcat hurtle past us on the right.
As Conquer said in the stream, see, look, I saw the chat thread. The Typhoon is going to be an amazing machine.
Well, there is certainly a lot of excitement in the community for it at the moment.
Well, if Heapler's going to do something, they say they're going to do something, they do it. So I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, I think genuinely that's probably some of the most exciting news in DCS of late, is that Heapler are involved in that.
The last few years, DCS is just amazing. I just started 3 years ago now, before time flies. But the last 2 years has really just expanded. The sim has increased in its quality, depth, so many different metrics. It just keeps advancing, and I'm really impressed by it.
Yeah, hugely so. I was talking about this on stream lately. You know, I was flying the A10C and the Shark back when their first DCS modules were at 2011 or so, but I started flying kind of multiplayer DCS again, you know, properly in quotes, from kind of 2014, summer 2014. And I remember back then, your combat was Shark, Hog, or Flaming Cliffs 3. You know, and for so long that was really it. And you look now at all the different types of aircraft we have, and just how rich it's becoming in terms of the variety, and it's a completely different beast.
Yeah, my thumbs can only remember about 4 aircraft, and so I have to kind of pick and choose which ones I'm going to be confident in, because you just naturally start pushing the wrong buttons when you want something to happen if you switch between too many airplanes.
Yeah, I concur with you there. And again, one of those other things I talk about on stream on occasion is trying to bind your your stick in such a way that there's some commonality between them. For example, locking an aircraft, generally speaking, for me is TMS up, whatever aircraft that is.
Yes, yes.
All right, so we've got quite a lot of Viper porn here on the way up. So let's jump into a different view and have a little look and see how they're doing in terms of setup. Both sides are almost at the bubble. I'm not ignoring you, by the way, Roundabout. I see Roundabout's trying to wind me up here. Conqueror's going off on one on a Typhoon, so Roundabout is telling him to stop being jingoistic. Your Eurotoxic masculinity is threatening all of us.
Yeah, just looking back in the thread, yeah, we definitely need a full fidelity Russian Eastern Bloc type aircraft, like a Su-27 full fidelity, or just be awesome.
Yeah, I mean, like, there's a MiG-23 coming, but it's not going to be any threat in this sort of modern environment, so you won't see it in competitions in the same way. Supposedly there's a MiG-29A coming, same argument. You need a flanker. You need either a 27, a 30, whatever. Something with data link, with MFDs, with good RWR. Put it in the same league as the Vipers and the Hornets.
Yeah, that would make it really, really interesting, because there's different philosophies behind how you fight with these things, and that'd be really interesting to see with the modern, updated Sukhoi, what guys would come up with.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have 3 elements of 2 from Outer Heaven. I think they have just come inside the bubble. They have indeed. There's about a 7 to 10 mile spread between those as they get wider. Having looked through parameters, Northern Element, Raven and Hussar coming in 28,000 feet. K-Gunner and Toretto, 29,000, 31,000. Mazurjax and Aero taking the southern cut this time, 28,000 feet. Very linear approach, meanwhile, from MCPV. Finch, again, 41,000 feet in the lead. Delta 4 and Hellpilot just behind. That's, about 5 miles behind. 34,000 feet. And similarly, about 6 miles behind them, Blah and Tugboat. 32 and 35,000.
Long range shot. Closest was like 62, 63 miles, and he shot an AMRAAM, so...
yeah... I think
that's going to be out of limits.
I think you're right. I think that's going to be the same thing as what we saw against the AWACS. Just not high enough or fast enough to get 60 miles. But we will see if K-Gunner is going to fly into it. Currently at 29,000 feet. I'd be very surprised if this comes off.
Alright, the missile's through 83,000 in the climb. That is a steep climb.
Just to illustrate it, it can see the blackness of space.
It's still pitching up. I think we lost a little bit of
102,000 feet. And it is going... Yeah, the tail is catching up on it now.
It's gone Kerbal.
It's gone Kerbal. Never go full Kerbal. Alright, let's lose the missile. Jedi Annalie, welcome! You're looking forward to the Apache mainly because it will be the first heli design to be able to work at night. You love night operations. Titan did some fun night stuff lately, yes. DCS at night is amazing. Absolutely incredible. And if you don't fly it, just do an instant action. Put the time at night, have a go. It's incredible. Phoenix out from Tugboat here. I think... that's tracking K-Gunner. It's not tracking the line I just drew against Toretto. Another Phoenix out, so... Tugboat, with all the Phoenixes coming again by the looks of it.
Alright, well that AMRAAM's peaked out at 124,000 feet. It's starting to head downhill. But I don't think it's guiding anymore. The battery's gone. But it did have the kinetic energy to get all the way to wherever the target was, so that's something. Okay, we got, what, 4 Phoenixes out now?
Yep, so I'm on board in picture with the first one that I think was going for K-Gunner, and maybe going for Mazur Jax. The line looks to be tracking down for the Jeff. SD-10 from the Jeff, 31 nautical miles. AMRAAM from Toretto towards Tugboat, that's about 35 miles. Tugboat's going to have to stay hot here to keep these Phoenixes tracking. But I don't think it'll be. Well, it's gone to 53,000. That could actually be a danger to the Tomcat.
I see all 4 Phoenixes doing their thing.
I'm not sure which one to track. I think Toretto, possibly.
Yeah, the north? Yeah. I'll keep an eye on the other center, right in the middle.
Oh, just missed K-Gunner. Toretto has defended.
Arrow. I think it's after Arrow in the back.
Roger. I can see it, I think.
The F-18 missed everybody.
Jeff has survived, so that is 4 Phoenixes down. Tugboat may be in trouble. I'm not sure where that AMRAAM is. Let's have a quick look. I can hear the Tomcat from it.
Oh yeah, the Tomcat's nice. If you get within 2 miles of them, you hear them, even in your cockpit, so you know when you're merged with a Tomcat.
But I couldn't see it from the missile. SD-10 close, or not close actually. It was close on an AMRAAM, but a cold Hell Pilot and a Viper. I see a disconnect from K-Gunner. K-Gunner died. Tugboat and the Tomcat killed Blue K-Gunner. So we've missed a Phoenix kill there.
Alright, it's 5 on 5. That must have been a pretty good desync. I didn't see any Phoenix that was close, but okay.
Yeah, so one of the Phoenixes did indeed hit the mark. We've got a bunch up here around that lake between Tugboat,
5v5 now.
Tugboat Delta 4 and Hell Pilot. Arrow with an AMRAAM into that mix. Mazur Jax with another SD-10 going in. So as you say, yeah, 5v5.
Far north, look far north. We may have that Phoenix, that AMRAAM is tracking from altitude.
Which one?
Far north.
On Raven?
Yeah. Okay, looks like he's outrunning it, but that AMRAAM was up in the high 30s, so it had potential, but he's turned away now. Phoenix down to the south. And splash.
Like we just caught the end of that, but that's the Jeff has been killed by a Phoenix. Missiles everywhere at the moment. So that is a 4 left on Outer Heaven. With all
Everybody
5 ships
really,
of
really likes
MCPV
their
up.
F-16s, but the F-14 has had probably more kills in this tournament in TACT than anything else.
It will be interesting to see those stats at the end. Here's a 18 or so mile AMRAAM shot from Blah on Arrow. Arrow's 9,000 feet, Blah is 24, so a lot of energy behind this. Return shot from Arrow. See if we can get on board with that.
This has really turned around from a 6v5 to a 4v5.
Arrow's defending. Some chaff out. Rolling inverted, thought better of it because you're down near the squirrels. I think the energy is just lost enough energy, I think. I think the squirrels will claim that AMRAAM.
Yeah, nothing else really close now. We have a 120 shot to the north going towards nothing. I don't know where he was shooting at.
Raven with an AMRAAM, I think that's on Finch. Hopefully it's not on Toretto. Obi-Wan Kenobi comes in. The return of the tactical blob. Yeah, we certainly see a blob. A close shot from Hell Pilot on Arrow in the south.
Oop, that has potential. He's down low. Got to get really low. Put that thing in the dirt. He had his belly to that missile.
Oh, he doesn't do it.
He was turning with his belly to the missile, so you don't get that warning. Up Phoenix out to the north, and that is pretty deadly.
I think Tugboat may be eating an AMRAAM in return for that.
Maybe. Looks like the AMRAAM's going to run out of energy, but that Phoenix is deadly. Phoenix is guiding.
Let's get on board with Toretta. And splash! Another kill for the Tomcat.
Yeah, Tomcat, 3 kills.
So we're down to 5v2, so it's the same situation for Outer Heaven. They've just got to go fangs out and be aggressive here. So there's an 8-mile shot from Raven on Blah. Blah elected to defend vertically. Has defeated the AMRAAM. And I think Finch is coming in and Delta 4 to assist. So if we have a quick
Blah
look here.
he defeated that AMRAAM by doing nothing.
Yeah, he just climbed. But I think the AMRAAM just didn't track. AMRAAM out from Hussar, I think on Hell Pilot.
Raven, you have to give the AMRAAM a little bit of guidance with your radar before you turn cold. Otherwise, it doesn't know what to do. So you have to support your missile at least a little while, and he turned too soon.
A good
He's
shout.
starting to get run down in the north here. He's got 3 bandits hot on him.
Yeah, needs Hussar to come in and help, but Hussar is busy trying to engage with Hell Pilot, so they're a good 18 miles apart.
Yeah, this is where the tactical blob really is effective because you're close to your buddies. You can kind of run towards each other and you defend. You're able to protect your wingman's tail from other aircraft that are chasing them.
Yep, so we're just keeping an eye on Raven there because I think what we're going to see soon is a missile getting on. But Hussar is defending an AMRAAM in the south.
Alright, I'm hoping for Raven to do a ninja cheese on this and kill all the guys up in the north.
Looks like Hussar is okay. AMRAAM from Delta 4 down on Hussar. Raven is just running.
AMRAAM in the south towards Delta 4. This could be nice and deadly.
Oh, caught high? No. Another one coming down from Delta 4 though. Hussar is
turning hot.
Hussar is Winchester.
Oh. This is a good challenge then. Raven's got, he has that Sidewinder on board and 2 AMRAAMs. So blue side has a total of 2 AMRAAMs left. Now 1 AMRAAM.
Hussar has died. Raven with a shot though. That is Raven on the right hand side of the screen, Raven's AMRAAM on the left.
Tomcat and Phoenix for the MVP, I'm thinking.
I think so. It's kind of surprising when you think about so many Phoenix launches early like that in mass, but has pulled out the kills. It doesn't look like that AMRAAM is going to do anything, and we are down to 1 member of Outer Heaven left, Raven, and all ships of Motor City Pit Vipers are up. Finch with an M9, an M9, M120, coming in. This may get it.
He does have that Sidewinder on board, so I still have faith.
Nope, that got the squirrels.
All you have to do is merge with everybody and then have them do all the team.
Here comes the missile.
Uh-oh.
And down.
Good fighting.
Red has taken control of the battle area.
They didn't lose a single aircraft, did they?
No, I'm seeing all 5 members of Motor City Pit Vipers, and remember they only started with 5 here, have survived the round. That was an impressive showing. Let's have a quick run through the aircraft. Finch is Winchester after that last kill shot. Hell Pilot, also Winchester. Tugboat and the Tomcat is down to 2 heaters. Blah and the Hornet has 1 AMRAAM, 2 Sidewinders left. Still has
And
3 bags
fuel
on.
tanks.
Yes.
Note for the F-18 guys, you get rid of those bags when you don't need them, and the racks also. Those racks for the 120s are a lot of drag. You can shoot those 120s off, clean that rack up.
Yeah, it makes a big difference, that, doesn't it?
Yeah, about each rack is about 20 knots of top end speed, so you can increase your speed down low by 100 knots if you get rid of those things.
And then we see Delta 4 with a single AMRAAM on board, so they went through their missiles in this round. In a big way.
Oh yeah, they really did.
Break shot has joined the use of tactical blob.
It's a technical term.
Samurai says, well, air is in the title, haven't seen land, but I'm not sure what this has been replied to, so skip over that. It's a turkey shoot says so. Lone Dart says you have to fire off all the Phoenixes quickly before Jester forgets how to do it.
That is true. You have to work with your tools that you're given.
Yeah, and Breakshot is asking, does the Tomcat have a Rio? The short answer is no, because the Pit Vipers had limited numbers available, so they're rolling with 2 mercenaries here, Hellpile and Delta 4, and already at 5 people, so you know, if they had a Rio, it would have made sense to get a 6th ship in. So really, it's a bit an impressive showing that.
Yeah, one of the greatest strengths of that Tomcat and Phoenix is when things are confused and you can fire into some of the bandits. They're just overwhelmed with what's going on around them. They don't realize a Phoenix is on them. If you know a Phoenix is inbound at you, you can react and defeat it. It's relatively easy to notch, and you can kind of get out of the way if it's fired at a long range, but you have to know it's coming. And in these competitions, things are so busy, and guys are talking to each other so much that you get overwhelmed. You have to prioritize what information you're going to absorb and what your next task is going to be.
Absolutely, yeah. Again, the same thing, you know, we find ourselves being a little bit repetitive with these commentaries on occasion when we're talking about how much matches like this can become overwhelming quickly because the situation changes and breaks down. But it comes down to 2 things for me, is comms and situational awareness. You know, how well you can communicate with your teammates and get information relayed quickly and understood quickly, but then also how well you can keep that picture. Because everybody has a limit on, you know, how much they can take in, and then the mental bucket becomes full. And when it becomes full, it breaks down so quickly, doesn't it?
Yeah, and then the other trait, skill to learn is to climb yourself out of that bucket you're talking about and rebuild your picture and know where to go. And your buddy just giving you a couple key pieces of information, like, you know, fly west, fly east, something can really save you and kind of reset you, and then just dump everything what's going on and reset and look for the next thing to do.
Yep, that's the key word there, is reset, because it happens, you know, happens all of us, even in just public server flying. You get into a situation, you become tumbleweed, and you just gotta turn around, reset, and then start all over. But, you know, again, these competitive matches with, you know, everything happening potentially much faster, all of it is just multiplied, isn't it?
Oh yes, yeah, it's a multiplier, and this is a complicated aircraft you're flying in a complicated environment against other people. All right, who's going to fire at the AWACS? I'm curious.
I've been keeping a picture-in-picture on the AWACS here, just to see. However, I think we only have, is it Delta 4 and Blah with missiles that are non-heaters, so we'll see if Tugboat goes up and tries to do a heater.
You got guns.
I mean, it's passing, like, just left to right in front of them, only 7 miles out.
He's just taunting them with that contrail.
It is, isn't it? Oh, we got some formation coming up here. I think that is Hell Pilot forming with Finch. So style points going here for MCPV. We're big fans of seeing formation flying at the end of a match.
One nice mental picture to build for formation flying is that it's really energy management, you relative to the leader. Say the leader's in a turn and he turns away from you and you want to maintain position on his wing, you actually climb relative to the lead when you're in the outside of that turn. And because you're climbing, your center of mass relative to the lead is going up. So you actually have to increase your power to maintain your position. And then once you're up there, you bring the power just about back to where you were. Conversely, when he rolls out, you have to descend relative to the lead to maintain your position. So you actually have to reduce power. And so that relationship between your altitude and the leads in those turns, you get used to putting the power in, taking the power out, and that really helps in turns when you're flying formation.
Yep, really got in for their bullet, because it's also the thing of I've been saying this to a couple of folks lately who are who have been leading sorties that have been on some of the streams. You know, if you're a flight lead and you go, for example, gate, you know, the guys behind you can't catch up because, you know, all their movements are just slowing them down relative to you. You always have to have that little bit of wiggle in the throttle, and similarly, if you fly Buster, all your wingmen are going to have to start touching into gate and use a ton more fuel.
Yeah, and on the bottom end too, you can't go idle when you're lead. Otherwise, the wingmen don't have anything to play with except for speed brakes, and that's that's very coarse. It's not a very fine adjustment.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to leave a little power in there for your wingmen to work with.
So Kid Gunner has popped into stream chat, says good game to MCPV. Jester is MVP, says Brickshot. Kid Gunner with another comment saying, tough match for us today. Toretto's mic broke and her new one doesn't get here till tomorrow, and all our starters are on holiday. Oh, that sucks. But good game nonetheless, had a lot of fun. Yeah, good.
Someone told Jester he's the MVP. He yelled back, unable.
Oh, Jester. Why are you so shit?
Jester's just like an autopilot. You know, it's just a basic computer program, and he can do everything nice and wonderful. Or like an autopilot can fly you nice and smooth, straight and level, right into a mountain every time.
Breakshot is saying that they fly gate fingertip all the time. Well, you're not making it easy on the wingman.
Alright, someone does have to land.
Mm-hmm. I'm not following Finch down here. I think Finch will be the first one in. Second camera on the runway sees him on turning into finals. Takes a lot of flight hours, says Breakshot, indeed.
Well, that was a really fun, very dynamic, quick tournament. There are 2 rounds there. Compared to other events that I've watched, sometimes you can really take your time and try to wear the other guys down, but this one was just full on, about as fast as you can get it done. They got it done. Yeah,
I think you're right. I think it was definitely a very fun match to watch and a fun fight, because both sides were just out for it. You know, as we say, it wasn't overly conservative, it wasn't you know, kind of cat and mouse strategery. It was just get in there and start throwing missiles around.
Yep, tugboat MVP, I'm thinking.
Alright, Finch has touched down and is safely rolling out, so that should secure the match and the win for the Motor City Pit Vipers.
Yeah, good flying all around.
Yeah, I'm actually looking forward to going through the Tacview now to see what did we just watch.
Yeah,
it was chaotic.
I'm looking through all my notes now for the debrief, and yeah, I didn't have time to write anything down.
It's one of those things as well where you're trying to operate a camera for the stream to see like what's going on, and there's so many missiles going. It's like F10 is the best view sometimes. You know, it's like I don't know where to go.
Oh yeah, just keep the big view and to try to get that real good cinematic shot is sometimes a detriment because you're missing so much else that's going on.
Indeed. So Devil Dog, who is saying that's Hussar here. Great fight. If I didn't go for that vertical notch or C-fit. Lesson all round. Oh, it was unfortunate. Very unfortunate.
Yeah, you have to keep everything. You got to keep pay attention to everything that's going on around you. I did that in an earlier event. I put myself right in the ground in F-18, and it'll happen.
Yep, happens everyone, doesn't it? From time to time. Tomcat's just touched down. I think we've got 3 ships down now. So we're on board with Blah in the Hornet. Lone Dart saying neither side wanted to end up in a penalty shootout, so they were going for it.
Ooh, penalty shots. We should maybe do that. That'd be interesting, like a 1v1 guns or something to define to do.
Yeah,
the whole event.
5 mile merge. Hornet safely down. Who's next to the pattern? I think it's Delta 4, and that, I want to say, was the last one. Has someone disconnected? I thought we had a second Viper down.
Once again, I'm a good co-pilot here. I lost track. Oh, a little float. It's fine. You got this. You can land over him and stop. Oh, he's going around.
Who hasn't Seafit says so, indeed. Finian says, see fit as you see fit.
Most of the time, that's actually the squirrel's fault because they change the gravitational constant of the universe in the area that you're flying, and they just pull you into the ground a little bit more.
Breakshot says, in case of a tie, guns only round. I kind of like the idea of a penalties though, where you had you know, an attacker defender, like someone taking a penalty and someone saving. So 5 miles, throw an AMRAAM out, and if they can defend it, then it's a save. If they can't defend it, it's a score.
Oh, interesting.
That could be a fun format.
Penalty shots, where someone gets to throw a free AMRAAM at you, and you just have to notch it.
I'm not sure Delta 4 has thought too much about this approach, but
this is fine. It looks perfect.
It's within the numbers.
Just start applying the wheel brakes now.
While you're in the air.
Incoming transmission.
Actually, I did that in a Boeing sim at work, and we forgot the parking brake. We were zapping out to final to do a whole bunch of approaches, and we left the parking brake on at one of them, and we touched down, and the sim went to full nose down. Everything slid around. Oh, it was funny.
Ouch.
Hey, he stopped.
Oh, makes good use of the grass. Well done. Samurai says yes and yes to the penalty shootout idea, and Conquer says it will go on forever. So a couple of follows coming in the last few minutes. Gorol45, thank you for the follow. Single Shot, welcome and thank you for the follow. Peter Linhart, there, I had to think about that. Thank you for the follow on Aero. Also, you're all very welcome.
I'm going to jump away for a minute, and then you're doing Tacview debrief?
Yeah, so it'll take a couple of minutes to get Tacview downloaded, so what we're going to do is wrap up this section up here. I'm going to throw up the TACT trailer for a moment. We'll get the TACT Tacview downloaded, and then have a quick look over them.
Yeah, we can finally see everything that was going on.
Alright folks, so as we say, we are going to be back in just a couple of minutes, so let's have a look at that beautiful TACT trailer from LA West.
Incoming transmission.
right.
Chuckle's targeted. Coming left for the shot.
Fox. Fox. Okay, flash 131. Jet force in. Understand your hit. Fox. Flash 1. Left, right. Take right.
There's another one!
Alright folks, welcome back. We have found Tacview. It was hidden away, but we got to it. Nice to see some other folks have come along here. Stunt Puppy, welcome. Stunt Puppy from Outer Heaven. To watch the debrief, thanks for streaming, pleasure. Well done to you for taking part. Unfortunate with the result, but it's always one of those things that I'm sure you'll take a lot from it. Incredible.
Fast, furious, and crazy. It was
yeah,
fun to watch.
incredible fight. Just everything was happening. We're just kind of sitting here quietly stunned, catching our breath that, what have we just seen?
What the hell was that?
Tugboat says, awesome match, guys. Well done, Tugboat. Welcome along. I think Mr. Bullet was conferring an MVP there to you, sir. Those Phoenixes certainly made a huge difference.
When one can work with Jester, amazing things can happen.
Yeah, emphasis on the when.
Yeah, you never know.
When Jester doesn't screw you over. Alrighty, so if you can confirm for me, you can see my screen, Mr. Bullet.
Yep, I see it.
Roger, I'm just going to quickly check that the stream is on the right scene. Yeah, stream sees Tacview, so we're good to go. Alright, so this was the opening of round 1. We had, again, those 2 ships in the front from Outer Heaven, 30,000, 2 in the north, 2 in the south. Finch was up here at 44,000, but didn't Fox.
Yeah, that could have been a real good opportunity to shoot, but he was basically trying to get them to waste some missiles on him, and that worked effectively.
Yeah, because effectively Toretto put one out here that, Finch has already turned cold, so it didn't really do much. Same, I think that was K-Gunner up to the north to just turn around, but these first 4 Phoenixes. And this one I'm looking at here has missed, but this one is tracking. And gets Raven. I'm going to go back for parameters there in a moment, but I think of those 4 Phoenixes, that 1 kill came out. So this now is Phoenix number 5. We'll just watch this through and then roll back. I want to see what the ranges were.
Okay.
It's always interesting to me with Phoenix shots like that when they hit. Like, was it close? Was it far? Was it fast? Was it high? I think we've seen all sorts of permutations.
Yeah, half of that is surprising the guy you're shooting at, and what their reaction is to the missile launch.
Yep, here you are. Tugboat is at 36,000 feet, is not supersonic, and is 46 miles out to Raven. So if we just let this roll, here come the Phoenixes. So not super long range, but also not super close. Good kind of medium range.
Getting a first kill really can change things, because mindset-wise, the guys who take the loss kind of go defensive a little bit. They're like, "Oh shit, what just happened?" And
Yep.
oh, sorry, is this a kiddie-friendly stream? I don't know, but
No. Have you ever seen my streams? Jesus. Fuck no.
I never watch your stream. What? Putting 4 Phoenixes out is really kind of an effective strategy because law of statistics, you're going to probably kill one or 2 of these guys. And even though you're using a lot of missiles up early on, that early kill can really help you out.
Oh, it's huge. When it hits, it's huge. And I think we saw that previously with that 86 nautical mile Phoenix that you alluded to in the commentary. But I was surprised all the same to see so many Phoenixes out like that. Because we tend to see them be a little bit more conservative because they're relatively low PK all the same. Especially with Jester.
Well, you need to have 4 tracks also with your radar with working with Jester. And so that was a really wide shot that he did. So he was able to get good, accurate tracks on 4 different targets, widely spread, and then be able to fire on them. So that's really good work.
Yeah, I'm just going to go back here to the Jeff, because like the Tomcat, the Jeff used all of its ST-10s in a very short space of time. So that was, 2350 the first one goes out. And it's about a 30-mile shot.
He shot and turned cold really quickly.
I don't think that was supported.
Yeah,
No.
that wasn't supported enough, was it?
I mean, that's... might be trying to pull lead, but it looks like it's more flying straight and level, to be honest. Second one is out. That's again 27 miles on a cold bandit, unless it's on Delta 4 here.
that kind of comes back to it's a very complicated thing that's going on. You're not positive where everybody is either. So you're always concerned in the back of your mind that there's a bandit you don't know about somewhere. And so you're trying to get a kill in, trying to be effective. And you're just kind of trigger happy a little bit and shooting a little bit early compared to when you really know you should be shooting these missiles.
Yeah, I mean, there's always going to be more defensive shots in these sort of events too than offensive shots. But I think really it's only that last ST-10 down at about 16, 17 miles that is probably within good parameters. And even then Hellpile looks like is in the beam and defending pretty early. So that was what, about 23 I think we said, so within about 3 minutes has gone skosh. So it was,
yeah,
that was a liberal use of ST-10s, but probably ineffective. A couple of comments in chat. CTF Raven, who took that early Phoenix, comments, is still so mad about that. And Lone Dart is commenting that a ringing endorsement of Titan's stream from Bullet there. I don't watch your stream.
It's only for mental health. I have to avoid your stream at all costs.
I wish I could avoid my stream sometimes.
What was the distance on that Phoenix shot, the first kill of the match?
46 miles, I think it was.
Okay.
Maybe 44. It was in that range when I went back and looked at it.
You either want to launch pretty far away where the guys aren't expecting it, or in close when guys are turning cold. That is some of the most deadly Phoenix shots you can do because they can't outrun it.
Yeah, so all of those initial 4 were kind of in between those parameters, really, weren't they?
Yeah, they were. But he... when you hear on the radio somebody's defending a Phoenix shot, you're like, oh, okay, there's the Phoenix. So it's on him. I don't have to worry about that. I can start working on some other stuff. And all of a sudden, the Phoenix comes in on you also. So when you hear that on the radio, you're not as concerned because you assume he's only going to shoot at kind of 1, maybe 2 different guys.
I think there's some good change of altitude perhaps here from Toretto. This Phoenix looked like it was going to be quite dangerous. That was 9 miles. So there's your example of a cold shot in close.
Yeah, he had a mountain to hide behind and get into a notch, so that worked out really well. Defending, anyway.
Yeah. Pulls it down into the mountain, so good defense there from Toretto. Again, being conscious of where you are in the terrain you have to work with. Hellpile, a close AMRAAM on Maxer Jax, so there was the second kill, I think. Now at this stage we have lost another Outer Heaven. Was this the... I'm gonna have to go back. I think we're looking at... what? Let me remember my keybinds for this thing. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we know Raven has died, so somebody else has died. I think it was at Aero up north. Was this the C-Fit that we've missed? Well, that must have been very early. Yeah, here it is. Or was it a disconnect? If we can get a confirmation in chat there, please.
We had 1 disconnect and we had 1 C-Fit, I believe, in the first round.
Yeah, so here's Aero.
The F-18 can surprise you when you're going straight down.
That's a disconnect.
Really fast.
Yeah, speed of 0, so early disconnect, which meant that became 5-on-5.
One of the most important things to do in these events, or anytime you're going to go online and compete against somebody, is you have to sacrifice a floppy disk to the internet gods. And if you don't,
Welcome back,
bad things can
Commander.
happen. So, I mean, you need a good supply of those things, but you need to sacrifice them.
Oh, we all know that. Raven, thank you for the follow a few minutes ago. Gamma coming in with a sub. Thank you, sir. Good to see you. Aero's internet died. I need to double check who that is. Hussar, Devil Dog. Yeah, that really sucks. We've seen a few of that throughout the competition thus far. So at this stage we are on a 5? Yeah, so we've got Delta 4, Tugboat, Hellpilot, Blah, Finch are up. And then you've got 4 Outer Heaven left, which, you know, again, just how quickly the tables can turn like that. Or as a friend of mine once said, how quickly the turbos can tin.
Exactly. Phoenix shot in the south there, and that puts it right into the mountain.
That was the one. I think they were just back to where we were before we went back to check for the disconnect, and then Hellpilot comes in with the close AMRAM. So 6,000 feet. The Jeff is coming, and remember the Jeff is Scotia at this point, so it's trying to press in with heaters presumably, unless it's just baiting shots. Stays hot and gets straight to the face.
That was the C-fit right there.
Oh. So Hellpilot was expecting something in response, I'm assuming.
Yeah, he was expecting an SD-10 from that, from the Jeff, which is really deadly. And I think he just misjudged where the mountain was. He had good speed. He's trying to recover from it here. But,
he's not. What's the word?
Well, you
It
got
wasn't a G-lock.
You got to aim at the ground and miss, and I think he aimed at the ground and hit.
Yeah, it was definitely controlled flight, so yes. C-fit, not G-lock. Let's have a quick look here at numbers again. We got Delta 4 pressing on K-Gunner, 8 miles, 8,000 feet supersonic, plays 14,000 subsonic. Oh, K-Gunner hates it.
What was the range on that? That was head-on at 14,000 feet.
8 miles. So I think it was the energy here, like even though it was initially going uphill, it's Mach 1.4. Sorry, Mach 1.2 on the jet, so this has energy. And I think your problem here is trying to terrain mask and line of sight the missile, but ends up just turning out cold. So you can see it all the time here pulling away. And never gets into a notch. So just couldn't get around that hill quickly enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that, but you know we've seen it a lot throughout the tournament, where folks just don't find a notch.
Yeah, when you're defending, you kind of have to make a decision. You have to pull all the data together really quick and decide: do I want to try to outrun this thing? Do I want to try to just notch it or put it into the ground? So you have to look at the ground around you really quick, distance from the guy who shot at you. If you're conscious enough of it and you got him on your radar, you see what speed he's at when he launches at you. You can get an idea how much energy that weapon has coming at you. And then you can decide, can I outrun it, or do I want to just go for a notch?
Absolutely, Bullet, yeah.
And you got to do all that within half a second.
I think part of it, too, though, is having, as much as you can, that information built up before the missile comes out. You know, so that you're kind of consciously thinking about it when you see the bandit. Okay, they're high, they're fast, they're close. Therefore, when I defend, it's like that half-second decision is much easier than trying to plug in all the information from scratch.
Oh yeah, and a lot of times you don't have that because there's so many things going on. That guy pops up from a mountain, or he was looking at the other guy who just C-fit, so he was maybe looking to do a shot on him, and then all of a sudden Delta 4's right there. So yeah, it's,
then all the parameters reset, and it goes, I have no idea what these numbers are. It's difficult.
Have a term for it. It's called tumbleweed.
Indeed. It's a term a term and a state I go into quite frequently myself when I fly. So we see Hussar here gets a kill on the Tomcat, 6-mile AMRAM, and at this point it was a 4-on-2. And again, as you called in the commentary, Bullet, at this point Outer Heaven just had to go fangs out, had to be aggressive or they would just get run down, and this was absolutely what they needed to get this kill.
Yeah, it can be counterintuitive when you're against a lot higher odds to really be aggressive and just engage them. Otherwise, if you try to stay conservative and they realize, the guys with more numbers may not realize they have more numbers right away. It's actually kind of challenging to know if somebody has been killed and make sure your count is correct. So that's one thing you try to do in these competitions is really keep track of who dies and who's still alive.
Yeah, so just going back again, that was the kill on the Tomcat. It was... what was that, 7-8 miles, it's kind of co-alt, both subsonic, and I think in the end Tugboat just didn't get into the notch, couldn't shake it. So that set up what was looking like a good position then for Outer Heaven to come back, and this engagement between Blah and Toretto really sealed the deal, if you like, and it almost very quickly became to the advantage of Outer Heaven. So just gonna let this play, that's 8 miles. Blah has all the energy here, 19,000 feet, subsonic, but it's downhill. Toretto, Mach 1.14, 7,000 feet.
Another thing with altitude differences, the guy lower actually has a really good advantage because he can get into a notch. The AMRAAM has been updated, where if you're up at altitude, it's very difficult to get into a notch and defeat the radar of that missile. If you're down low and you have the terrain behind you now, it's a lot easier. It's almost a 10-to-1 difference in the ability to notch.
I think I'm right in saying as well, but correct me if I'm not, that there's logic with the AMRAAM now that if it is looking up, it will almost ignore the notch filter to the same degree, or to a lesser degree than it would looking down. That it actually is factoring that in now.
Oh yeah, it's a huge difference. If it's looking down at you, you have a lot easier time to notch. If you're up at altitude, it's very dangerous to be up high because it's very, very difficult to get a good notch. The parameters are so much smaller. The missile looking at you in the sky has a lot easier time keeping track of you, as opposed to if you're low.
So then, I've just realised the scoreboard was not disappeared when I went to Tacview, so that's gone back up now. Just for anyone who's joining us, MCPV won this match against Outer Heaven 2 rounds to 0. And we're stepping through the Tacview from the first round here. And for me, this is a key point of it, as we're just about to say, because both aircraft are foxing. Viper low, Hornet high, just within 5 miles, so you're not going to outrun any of these. It's not your die territory. Toretto with an AMRAAM uphill. Blah with a double tap, and that's important, because there's the point. At this stage, Outer Heaven have 2, MCPV have 2 left, so we're at a 2v2 if Toretto can survive. And the key thing here is the first one misses, but because it was the double tap, and then just luck and chance, the second missile got. So that second missile from Blah, I think, saved that round.
Yeah, double tap if you're too close. If you fire them too closely together, which those were very close together, they're coming in on the same line. So if the guy's conscious that he has 2 missiles on him, he can notch both of them. But after he notched the first, just kind of turned cold or didn't realize there was 2 missiles, one or the other. And yeah, so that double tap worked good in that situation.
Yeah, and it is a situational thing too, and I know there are certainly schools of thought on it, but if you look at where the missiles come in, you know, any moment here where while it was still alive, you've got 2 different vectors to be notching. So, you know, it's more pronounced if you've got it coming in from multiple aircraft. Okay, which do you notch? Difficult. But in this case, that second one, ultimately I think, you know, it won them the round, because as we'll just go back to again in the north, that could have been a 2v2, ended up being a 2v0, because sadly, Hussar crashes.
Squirrels.
So we're just going to watch this here, because I think this confused us. After we watched that death in the south, we came back to go, where's the other one gone?
Yeah, because it was a 2v2, and it was going to be very interesting how that would play out.
Yeah, so I'm just watching the G here to see, is it G-Lock or CFIT?
No, he's rolling, so...
Yeah, it's CFIT.
No. Yeah.
Oh, that's unfortunate for Outer Heaven. That could have been, I think that was very close anyway, but that could have been down to like the last aircraft fighting it, and possibly down to a 1v1. We've seen a number of these matches go right down to the wire like that, and boy are they exciting, but this was certainly an exciting round.
Yeah, these mountains, they can be deceptive too, because it's not really high peaks, very steep terrain, but it's varying constantly, and so it can kind of sneak up on you a little bit. So, yeah.
So, any other thoughts about this round, Bullet, before we move on to the second round?
Oh, sorry, say again?
Any other thoughts about this round before we go on to the second one?
No, very aggressive, and it comes down to those little things of making sure you keep the fundamentals going.
Now, I do want to see the range on this AMRAAM from Finch before we do that, actually. Because the 52 nautical miles against a beaming AWACS from 36,000 feet, subsonic. I mean, it was ambitious.
About that best parameters or longest range I see that where you can actually get a good kill is about 55 miles if the person's coming head on at you and doesn't maneuver. So this is a flanking shot. His battery just times out.
Yeah, as I said in the stream, you can just see that vector turning right all the time. It's
And
just
AWACS
rolling over the stage.
He is chaffing, so you know.
So he had a hand in it too.
Yeah. Just keep hitting that button.
Alright, so that is the end of that round. All these other AMRAAMs fall short similarly for the same reasons. So let's jump on to round 2. So what were you expecting to see out of this one, Bullet, given that first round?
I was kind of anticipating one or both of the sides really changing up and being more conservative, trying to wear the other guy's missiles down, seeing how aggressive the other team was, to just kind of wait them out and let them keep shooting until they all go Winchester, and then you can really dominate. I was expecting one, maybe even both teams doing that, but it was kind of just more of the same. And this long range, I don't think he planned on really shooting. I think that was a mistake right there.
Yeah.
66 miles to the closest guy. You just know that's not going to hit.
I mean, do you think it was out as a feint? You know, just that they might see.
Possible.
I mean, we had this talk lately about the range of the smoke trails that you see on missiles, and I'm led to believe now that's 45 nautical miles that you'll actually visually see the launch. So at 66, even as a feint, it wouldn't accomplish much, but, you know, if it can nose down and go active and alert someone in an RWR.
Well, he's at 42,000 feet. He is supersonic, so it's a really, really good throw. You know, I mean, that's like a fastball pitch. And he's going against a guy who is supersonic, but, it's just, maybe he wants to get the thing to go to Pitbull at least and just give him a little bit of a concern. I don't know. Is he in the chat right now?
I'm waiting for chat to catch up to see. If you're there, Finch, let us know what your thinking was about that missile. Was it a mistake? Were you intending it to be effective? So anyway, that one went off to space, and then in comes Tugboat with Phoenixes. So this was a little bit more traditional Phoenix throwing, I think, from the ranges. As Finch is 13 miles off to the north, and we're now, well, I was going to say traditional, but it's like 48, 50 miles. It's still actually kind of middle range.
Yeah, Phoenix launches at this range. The guys can zoom in. They can see the smoke trail of the Phoenix, so they know these things are inbound. But the Phoenix will have a lot of speed at the end of this, 50 miles or less, especially against high bandits.
Yeah, and if we just quickly stop there to look at the altitudes, you're looking at 28, 29,000, 29,000, 30,000, 31. They are high, so they're...
Mazur knows the Phoenix is inbound. He's defending. I think everybody pretty much is defending.
Were there any kills, do you remember, out of these initial?
I think we had one. We had one Phoenix kill that was I think a desync something, because we missed it completely.
Yeah, like at the moment Toretto is looking in trouble,
So
but
one of these is a kill.
finding a notch,
Figure that out.
turning away, I think that's
notched
okay.
right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, we watched that one happen.
So then we have Mazur's okay. This one is a K-gunner.
That looks like it's
It
gonna
might be
kill.
Arrow, actually. Oh, K-gunner gets hit, and I'm going to jump back here for a second to see how close it got to Arrow.
notches. Once you see that thing goes off guidance, a Phoenix just slowly releases its flight controls and just kind of buzzes by. You can see the G-load on the missile. You can tell when it stops guiding.
So what's that, negative 4.5 G at the moment? Yeah, I think you can see in the F10 as well when the G stops pulling. It just resets down to 1, so... Unfortunately for K-gunner, I just want to see what that range was on the Phoenix when it comes off. So U to U, that's 40 miles. 37,000 feet on Tugboat, just supersonic. Again, as you're saying, that high altitude. And I think it's the defense here again gets K-gunner killed, unfortunately. Starts to notch, and then at this point for me that vector is pointing away and starting to pull out of the notch. And
Yeah, you
running
have
cold.
to just decide to commit to that notch and maintain it, especially against the new AMRAAM. the updated AMRAMs here will reacquire you, and you have to notch them a few times. So you really have to keep working on it.
Yep, Raven confirming 1 kill on initial. So again, this is where the Tomcat has been really effective for the Motor City Pit Vipers, getting a kill on the opening salvo in both rounds. And suddenly, what was a 6v5 again is now a 5v5. And more than that, I think the Outer Heaven folks are going, crap, we just lost someone.
When we're fighting against Tomcats with our squadron, and there's Tomcats out there, first thing we do is everybody's just going to work on Phoenix defense and try to wear those Tomcats out, and not really work on our game plan of what we're going to plan to do. For everything else, it's all kind of concentrated on defeating Phoenixes. Yeah,
I think you're right. Like, I think we've seen a lot of squadrons work on that, where it's kind of baiting missiles and just bleeding out the infantry and getting the threat down then. So, get those initial ones out of the way.
A one-dimensional threat instead of a 7-dimensional threat.
Exactly. So Mazerjacks again throwing some SD-10s around from...
Incoming transmission.
Well, it's effectively a medium range at 20 miles. But sadly walks into a Phoenix! Oh, I think possible rush of blood to the head here. I think I see one SD-10, comes back in for 2, goes for 3rd. And then the Phoenix comes in.
Dangerous.
So at this stage, Tugboat is how far away? 23 miles, 24,000 feet, just subsonic. Mazerjacks is supersonic, turning back in for all these Foxes.
At 15 to 20 miles, that's where the Phoenix actually gets up to its highest speed. So 20 miles down to 15 is where the Phoenix is just about the most deadly, because it's still accelerating towards you.
Yeah, I mean, that's peaking at about Mach 3.7.
Yeah.
And just before it hits...
What, 25 miles, you said?
It's about 20, I think. Just as it hits, it's Mach 2.17, so... That is
it can really turn to...
yeah, 25 miles. So, Fang's out aggression, I think, got the better of Mazerjacks. Exchange here. Let's look for the next kills. So that's Tugboat with 2 kills in this round.
So far.
And at this stage, again, just for the numbers game, we've got still 5 MCPV and now 4 on Outer Heaven. Hellpilot in close with Aero, 9 miles in the south. I think there's a kill here.
Yeah, so they were down by 1. It was 5 versus 6, and then they turned it down to 4 versus 5.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And just
really
here it becomes 3 versus 5.
Yeah.
Yep, so I think it's kind of the same thing there.
Couldn't find that notch.
Yeah.
That was really, really close to defeating that. You put any chaff out? I don't see chaff.
I think it's just turned too cold.
Yeah, he didn't put any countermeasures out.
No? Not that I saw, anyway.
He forgot to flip that switch to set up his systems.
Like, if had rolled out here and just held that heading, would have stayed more in a notch, whereas instead it's more cold, so you're just not finding it.
Yeah, when you're going to the defense, you're going to a notch, forget the rest of the event, the world around you, everything else. It doesn't matter. All that matters is getting in the correct position. It's just you and that missile. You and the missile is the only thing that matters at that point.
So here comes Tugboat with another kill. 10 nautical miles on Toretto. I think it's Toretto who gets it in the end here. We'll just double check. Yeah, that's tracking Toretto. 2 AMRAMs out on the Tomcat. And Toretto elects to run, which was the mistake. I see some barrel rolls there, hang on.
That is the most excited Phoenix missile in the game right there. He's like, oh boy. Because he just sees a guy running cold.
So trying to snake the missile, I think Toretto was doing, but you can't snake a Phoenix from that range.
You may have thought it was an AMRAM on him instead of a Phoenix, because you don't get the...
True.
RWR.
Yeah.
And that was a Charlie model, which has less smoke. So, he may
Oh, I
have been
didn't even
expecting-
notice that. Okay.
Yeah, he may have been expecting an Alpha, and he didn't see the big smoke trail, so he thought it was just an AMRAAM problem.
Yeah, I'm just looking back. Mazur Jax was hit. God. Mazur Jax was hit by a 54 Charlie, and K Gunner was hit by a 54 Alpha, so Tugboat bringing both along. Sneaky,
Yeah,
sneaky
long
Tugboat.
Long range, he did the Mark 60s with the big smoke, but they had the big motor. And then in close, he was using those Charlie models, which are harder to notch also, that or use your chaff on. They have a little better radar seeker. So it's a very effective missile in close like this. He did a great job with that Tomcat.
Yeah. Good defense there, too. I think those missiles were trying to track. I could see them changing direction as the Tomcat changes. So they're initially going kind of up that way, and then they make a left-hand turn.
You
So
can just see the Mach number on those missiles just bleed down. Missiles, as soon as they turn down low with those little fins that they have, just bleed all their speed off.
little fins and thick air.
Yeah, not a good combination.
So at this stage, as we said, it was all for MCPV to lose effectively, because Raven and Hussar are a good distance apart. If we can manage to work Tacview, it'll be marvellous. 21 nautical miles, and all 5 elements of the MCPV are still up.
Yeah, that 21 miles can be really important. You're just too far away from your buddy for him to turn around and kind of see who's behind you. Half of the battle here is information, getting the info in and knowing where things are. And your friends putting their radars out there, especially when you're running cold, if somebody could put a radar behind you and kind of sanitize the area, you know what's happening around you again. And that can really help out. So the tactical blob with everybody looking in different directions can be very effective.
Unfortunately for Hussar, that missile just did not seem to guide. I think Hellpilot did a good job getting into a notch and going up and losing it. So that wasn't really a factor. But yeah, the brevity, of course, bullet being a delouse for getting someone to look behind you. Oh, Hussar was out of luck. I think Hussar was Winchester from memory there. So how many missiles were coming in here?
The answer is yes.
Just gonna let this roll. I don't think there's much by way that Hussar could do here on their own, having elected to turn in. And yes, missiles. Looks like Delta 4 gets the kill.
Yeah, he's up high, he's slow, he is putting chaff out, he's trying to kind of get into a notch situation, but you need to be down low, 90 degrees to what's coming in. But he was overwhelmed.
Yeah. Yeah, we've actually seen that a couple of times in matches where this sort of situation there is a chance, a low chance of being able to get a kill or two or do something, and then, you know, just the situation and the circumstance overwhelm, and you know, that decision of turn in or whatnot, and it's like, okay, now you're dead, now the chance is gone. Raven is commenting in chat, at this point I was just bucking it towards my teammate.
Yeah, this is where you get really low, really small, and try to get off of the screen of these guys for a little bit. And, you know, you're, what is this, 5-on-1? The best you can do is try to get low and get in the middle of them and get the confusion going. And you know that everything's an enemy around you, and they all have to verify who's what where. And you can actually have a lot of good kills. You could have some crazy things happen if it gets confused like that.
Oh yeah, down low in those valleys, you know, anything can happen. It's down to the rest of your team then, you know, if you're the one with the numbers, to actually, I think, as a few people have said, possibly yourself indeed, having someone take that elevated picture or view like Finch is here. You can see up at 26,000 and getting the radar down to scan and, you know, not get absorbed into the low-level shenanigans.
Yeah, have a couple guys go in there and be the killers, and the other ones just keeping information going and feeding data to the other guys.
So I think it's just at this stage, before Hussar had turned back in, like they had closed to 15 nautical miles. So again, as Raven said, was just bucking it towards Hussar. And if Hussar had tried to take some sort of a cut, you know, away and drag them in, Raven might have gotten shots on them. And you never know, stranger things happen if they're fixated on Hussar. You could make that a 2v3, you know, in a pretty short order. Yeah. It's just unfortunate the way these things pan out, as we say.
Yeah, good event. A lot of good flying by everybody, and you saw just about every different situation come up here in scenario.
Yeah, so much happened so quickly.
Yeah, very aggressive fight, and you have very little time to organize and figure out what's the best option, what you can do where.
Yeah. In a way, it's actually been a kind of a refreshing counterpoint to some of the matches of, you know, strategery to the nth degree and everybody being very defensive. You know, it's nice to see people just get in and throw sticks around.
Have at thee.
Yeah. Well, that was it, I'm afraid. Raven obviously got run down by Finch several missiles later, but, you know, the inevitable happened. And as we saw in the stream, all 5 elements, I think, made it back to, was it Kutaisi? Kobuleti.
Yeah, good win, guys. Well done.
So I think that leaves the status of Group D, where the number 15 Battle Axes already were through to the knockout stages as the group winner, and that should be MCPV as the second place. And unfortunately for Outer Heaven bringing up the rear in third. But it was really unfortunate that you folks weren't able to do the match against the Battle Axes. I think it would have been a really interesting one to watch, given what we've seen here.
Yeah, I just have to throw a big thank you out to everybody who's participating and taking the time in all these things. It's really a challenge to put together and spend the time with your teams and get out there and fly and coordinate all this. So it's just a blast to be able to do this with so many great people on the internet.
Agreed, Bullet, 100%. And I think you know, it's kind of just getting around to that of a similar note of it's great to see groups and squadrons getting involved in this who, you know, I personally would never have heard of before or have no interactions with before. And people just deciding, hey, we do some DCS for fun, why don't we give this a go? And, you know, the blurb that Finch provided to me about the Motor City Pit Vipers, that was exactly their background, you know? And they've come away with a great win here, so it's brilliant. The more people we can get involved in DCS like this, the better the community, you know, the better it is for the community.
What was it? 30 plus teams started out in TACT this year?
27. 27 squadrons, 9 groups of 3.
Amazing.
It is absolutely insane, that. So yeah, that is the go around by Delta 4. We'll see that.
This is an incredibly complicated sim, and to be able to fight in it and compete, the amount of time everybody has to put in, because these are full fidelity modules, which just about all the switches in the cockpit work and all the systems and that stuff, and you have to know their basic functions to use them to get this thing airborne and fight with it. And so the amount of hours everybody's put in and the number of people that have done that, I'm just very impressed by it and very thankful, because it's just a blast.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, so that is the end of the match there. Let me go back to our starting screen with the squadron logos on the scoreboard. So yeah, just again, from my point of view, a big shout out to both squadrons here. Brilliant to see you take part and to get involved, and, you know, anyone who's might be on the fence about taking part, go for it. One of the great things that we've seen in TACT is how accessible it is for people to get involved in. And a big credit to the 64th for putting it together. And to everybody, as Bullet says, for taking part, both, you know, squadrons, organisers, etc. It's been a pleasure to look and watch and cast these matches. If I could find my words again, honestly. I get tongue-tied sometimes.
Onwards and upwards. Bigger and better.
Yep. So we are almost, just from a general TACT point of view, we are almost at the end of the group phase. I think we have one more match, potentially. Let me have a quick look at the schedule. Where are you?
And we get into the semifinals and finals and eliminations. So this is going to be good. Some of these teams, everybody, this year, there's so much talent out there. It's going to be amazing.
Yep. So we are looking at the final group match is this evening, 1900 Zulu, the infamous time. Harpia versus the Motley Crew. If anyone hasn't been watching the TACT Discord, the Motley Crew are on form again with the meme wars. So that will wrap up the group stages, and then we get into the knockout competition from next weekend. So the qualifying match for the knockout bracket will be on Saturday. If I can again find the correct schedule, because the list I have in front of me just has a group winner name, so let me get two screens together for a moment.
Yeah, so basically tune in every weekend, the next few weekends. Things are going to be going on everywhere.
Well said.
Yeah.
So, Saturday next week, 1900 Zulu, the 14th VFS Samurais will be taking on the Art of War, TAW. And then we get into the quarterfinals proper. So on Sunday, we have all 4 quarterfinals taking part in 1900 Zulu simultaneously. So, Eclipse Task Force. I had to click in the wrong place. Minimized my screens. Eclipse Task Force will be taking on the 64th Aggressors. The 104th Phoenix will be taking on the number 15 Battle Axes. Phoenix Task Force will be taking on SF Squadron. And Bravo Squadron, with the help of VTAF, the two of them working together in this tournament, will be taking on the winner of Saturday's match. So that'll be the winner of the 14th Samurais or TAW. And then, yeah, as Bullet says, come back the weekend after for both Saturday and Sunday for the semi-finals, and then the weekend after for the 3rd, 4th place playoff on the Saturday, and then the final on the Sunday. So that's the 18th of August will be the end of TACT 21.1. Roll on 21.2 or 22.1. Whatever number is we'll go with.
Yeah. It's going to be good.
It's going to be good, yeah. I'm really looking forward to these matches. I think they're going to be fantastic. Alrighty, so that is the end of this. I will line up a raid before I shut down the stream proper. We're on 30-second delay, so I got a little bit of time with that. But before we go, Mr. Bullet, thank you very much for coming along. It has been an absolute pleasure and a blast to have you. I really appreciate your help.
Thanks for inviting me, and I always enjoy talking airplane stuff, so thank you for listening to all my babbling going on, everybody.
Always. We like your Babylon going on. When's your next Caveman Calculus?
Probably later this evening. I got some squadron training coming up now, and then after that I'll probably do some DCS streaming, and then maybe some Kerbal later.
Fantastic. Look forward to seeing that. If anybody hasn't seen Bullet's channel streams and his KSP streams, where the fuck have you been? They're fantastic. Go check them out.
Yeah, coming up on 3,000. When I hit 3,000, I'm going to probably do a good giveaway going on, because I got some Heapler modules that have been sitting around that I need to make tactical use of.
And sadly, I don't have my Moobot set up for shoutout, but please check out Bullet's channel. Yeah, 3,000, man, that's a big milestone. I've been on my road to 1,000 in the last couple of weeks, and I think we're in the 920 area now, so I'm similarly looking to do a module giveaway when we get up there, so hopefully in the next week or two.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that should happen really quick, and then you'll hit 2,000 before you know it.
Oh dear. It's all fun and games until somebody gets hurt. Alright folks, I'm going to call the stream there. Thank you, Bullet. It has been a pleasure. Everybody's come along. Thank you for the follows. Thank you for the chats and the interactions. And we will see you soon. I will be streaming, I think, one of the semi-final matches the weekend after next, and I will see you for that. In the meantime, enjoy the rest of your day, enjoy the upcoming matches, and we'll all talk soon. Cheers, folks.
See you, everybody.